Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pest Control Internet Marketing Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Andy Patel, CEO of K3 Marketing, a Google Premier Partner, where we have been perfecting the art of pest control internet marketing since 2005. All right, it is November. As always, hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for tuning in. As I mentioned in the beginning of my podcast last month, I'm starting to get a bunch of questions from you guys, and I appreciate them. Keep them coming. It's been great. I really enjoy answering questions and things like that. What I've decided to do is to pick one question and answer them on the podcast, or answer it on the podcast. So I'm just going to mention the person's name and their state. I'm not going to really give away their identity or their company name or anything like that. So the first one ever on the PC High End Podcast, thank you and congratulations, I guess, is from Jim from New Jersey. Hi, Andy. Thanks for the show. It's been really helpful for us so far. I was wondering, what is the typical ROI you show your clients using Google Ads? So this is a great question. I get this question all the time from, people who are interested in potentially hiring me to manage their Google Ads. And it's a valid question, right? What am I going to see? What benefits am I going to get out of this? So it's a little bit of a tricky question to answer, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. So first of all, I want to establish one rule here, is that there is a lifetime value of every client you get. So if you received a Google Ads sale, a recurring client for pest control, or even a wildlife control client last year, what's to say they're not going to bring in a referral or upgrade services next year? And who gets credit for that? Do you still count that towards Google Ads revenue, from back in the day or from last year? Or, do you account it to current customer? So you have to kind of really establish your ground rules internally, have a nice CRM system, customer relationship management tool, in order to really gauge what's working and what's not. But typically, if you look at your data from month to month and just look at the raw data in terms of how much you spent and how much you got in revenue, typically for wildlife control, I like to see a 10-time return on investment. So if you spent $2,000 in Google Ads, you should see around $20,000 in revenue in revenue through Google Ads. And that's because, wildlife control is usually a lot of exclusion work, a lot of high dollar type of jobs, especially if you do it right. The types of keywords that you use, it can get expensive, but if you do it right and you get the right keywords and a solid negative keyword list, I believe you can see that type of return on investment. Typically, unfortunately, with wildlife, it's not reoccurring. So it's a one-stop shop, once you're done type of thing. In pest control, there's a lot of competition out there. So typically with my clients, they pretty much honestly break even month to month. So let's say you spend $2,000, you pretty much make about $2,000 or $2,500 in revenue, unless you have termites or something like that you're offering, or even bed bugs. But typically you'll pretty much break even. But what is great about the program or Google Ads in general is now you should have a nice solid handful. I'm not talking about a nice handful of reoccurring clients, solid reoccurring clients, people who are going to pay their bill on time and not really leave and in a nice part of town and things like that. So that's, Jim, I hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions, guys, please email me through the website and I'll be happy to answer them. All right, we are jumping into the podcast episode. I feel like we have a pretty firm understanding on keywords, and we spent a lot of time on keywords, different types of keywords, best strategies, negative keyword list. And then we had the whole search term report thing happen where we had a couple of episodes on that. So we're going to move away from keywords now. I hope you guys have a firm understanding now in what types of keywords to use. It's very, very, very important, very crucial that you have a nice keyword list, a solid negative keyword list. And when you run your search terms report, quote unquote, I guess now, but when you run your search term report, you know, majority of them, overwhelmingly majority of them should be high quality search terms, servicing keywords where people want to purchase your service. So let's assume that you've got great keywords, and what happens next? Well, if somebody types in, bed bug removal services or removal company near me or pest control company near me, then they see ads, right? That's the whole thing about Google Ads, obviously. So typically Google shows about 3 to 4 ads. Right now, a lot of times it's the Google local service ads, the Google guarantee section. Then it's the Google Ads section, and then it's the map, and then it's the organic. And then even below the organic, there are some ads as well. So how should you write your ads? What should the content be? What should it say? What should the messaging be? So throughout the years of running this agency, we've tried a lot of different ads, a lot of different strategies. I'm going to go ahead and explain what works the best for pest control owners primarily. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to give away all the secrets, the secret sauce, but I think this will be a nice strategy for you guys to learn and implement if you're not already. Okay. I should also preface that ads also come with ad extensions. We're not going to be discussing ad extensions during this podcast episode. We'll probably have a 2 or 3 part series on ad extensions. So these are just the ads itself. All right. So I think Google's rule of thumb is you want to have at least 3 ads per ad group. And I think that's pretty common. What I found is I like to have at least 3. Sometimes we do 4 up to 6 ads per ad group. So as a refresher, you have a campaign. So let's say, for example, your campaign is, your pest control services. Then you have certain ad groups under that, which are basically your categories like bed bugs, termites, cockroaches, etc. So let's assume bed bugs is an ad group. Under that ad group, you have multiple ads. Okay. So what I find that works best is to have at least 2 expanded text ads. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up here on my computer. So an expanded text ad is essentially a general static ad that Google displays. So once I go into these ads and I go to edit, the first item you can insert is a final URL. So that means when someone clicks on this ad, where does it go to? So remember we had the discussion, or I mentioned about the landing page, right? So if we're talking about bed bugs, it should go specifically to the bed bugs page, right? So you want to make sure the final URL is the actual page of the ad group that your keywords and ads are in. Then you have up to 3 headlines you can add. So I would suggest adding all 3 headlines. You can have up to 30 characters per headline. So try to fill it up as much as possible. Now, what you also want to do here is to use your keywords in these headlines. So for example, if you're in Miami and one of your keywords is Miami bed bug control, then have Miami bed control as one of the keywords. This helps with relevancy and quality score and things like that. We've had an episode on that in the past as well. What you really want to do is, if you have the data, let's say you have months and months or even years of data, find the keywords that get the most impressions. Run an all-time report, search for all the keywords on your bedbug campaign or ad group, see what gets the most impressions, and use those keywords to show up as high as possible. Now, as long as they're good impressions, obviously, you can also, an argument could be made that you want to use the keywords with the most clicks or maybe the most conversions. But I find the impressions is best because more people are searching for that. As long as it's a servicing keyword, you want to really push that. Like, for example, Miami bed bug control is a great servicing keyword. All right, then you have your display path. So this gets a little confusing if you've ever been in here. Your path is basically what Google displays. You could literally have your domain.com, and then path 1 and path 2 could be, you know, I love you, and then, you know, cars are cool. It really doesn't matter what you put in there. It's the funny thing. Now, you want to put keywords in there that are related to your topic, right? So bed bug control, and then maybe the city name or something like that, for obvious reasons. So, but it's really weird. You can put whatever you want. You don't need to worry about creating these paths on your server or anything like that. Then you have up to 2 descriptions, and you can have up to 90 characters on those. So again, talk about what you offer. Are you guys uniformed? Do you have clearly marked vehicles? Are you top rated? Talk about some of your reviews, call us now, those types of things, call to actions you want to put in there. Remember, I think I mentioned this in the past as well, but when somebody has a bed bug issue, they're just going to Google and they're going to search, and they're going to click and hopefully call. Majority of the time, people do not have time to read what you have. If I have a bed bug issue and I see bed bugs all over my house or on my room, I'm not going to search and then read what you have to say. As long as you look professional and at first glance seem like a reputable company, I'm probably going to give you a call. So you want to really make sure that your ads speak to that. Give them the information they need right off the bat. So yeah, that's how those are the best strategies for expanded text ads. So I like to have at least 2 of those. I've talked briefly in the past as well about keyword insertion ads. You can go back to that episode for more information, but I do like keyword insertion ads for pest control companies. So that's basically, just as a refresher, it's a little piece of code that you put into your ad title that basically tells Google that, hey, if the search term is less than a certain number of characters, I think it's about 25 characters, so I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that, then show that exact search term in the title of my ad. So for example, if somebody typed in, Miami-Dade bed bug removal. Okay, I think that's more than 25 characters, but let's just assume that they did, that it would actually say Miami-Dade bed bug removal in the title of the ad. And that's kind of cool because, someone typed that in, they see that exact title that they typed in. So they're probably more likely to click on it, especially if they're in a frenzy to find someone. So yeah, keyword insertion ads in one expanded text ad would be nice. All right. The next thing you should be doing is a responsive ad. Now, let me see if I can find one here real quick. Yep, here we go. So a responsive ad is essentially a dynamic ad that changes based off of the user's device, what they searched, maybe their search history and things like that. So a responsive ad is Google's preferred ad. You want to make sure you have one of these. So just like with expanded text ads, you can first add your final URL. You can have your display URL. Then you have a bunch of headlines you can add. I don't know what the max is, but it seems that you can add at least I don't know. Oh, okay, here we go. You can enter up to 15 headlines. Okay. So you just pick a bunch of headlines based off your keywords, based off what you want to say, and Google will just kind of pick the best one based off of the search query. The same thing with descriptions. I think you can have up to 5 descriptions. No, I'm sorry, 4 descriptions and 90 characters, and you can just put a bunch of descriptions there. So Google, basically what you do is you just put a bunch of headlines and a bunch of descriptions, and then Google just picks the best variation and shows that ad. And it's nice. You don't have to necessarily think of different strategies and different keywords and things like that. You just kind of throw it all at one time. So yeah, those are responsive search ads. Make sure you guys are doing those. All right. I think that is it. That was a lot of information, but it was very important information. If you guys got a lot out of it, and start implementing it in your own Google Ads campaigns. As always, I am Andy Patel with PCIM Podcast. If you have any questions, please email me through the website at pcimpodcast.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.